profoundly kind of you to say. I am so sad about it not existing anymore. And there's nothing else like it on television. I mean, you've got GMA, you've got Today, and they're all great in their own right. But Morning Express was a special engine. We were the little engine that could, because we were a pretty small team, right?
Yeah.
It ended up that Robin liked having me on, and she's like, are you sure you want to do this and commit to this? I was like, yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, what, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.? That's no problem, honey.
Guys, I am super pumped for this next guest on the Ripple Effect podcast. Melissa Knowles may look familiar to many of you. You see her, if you have Dish Network, you see her pop up on your television occasionally. She was one of the correspondents on Morning Express with Robin Meade, and she is a social media sensation. Her website, melissaKnowlesTV.com, is something you definitely got to check out. But she's a mom, a TV personality, a storyteller, and an MC. She is someone that I tuned in every single day just to catch her segments, because she brings such humor and such energy and enthusiasm to what she does. She's just absolutely intoxicating. And so she and I have been talking for the past year via social media about the possibility of her coming on. And I'm finally able to get her. She's a busy, in-demand mom and television personality, but I was finally able to nail her down to get some dates scheduled. And today's the day. I'm so grateful. I'm so excited and pumped up to do a little rippling with Melissa Knowles. So with no further ado, let's dive in. Melissa, I am so grateful that you came on the Ripple Effect podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so well, Steve. Thank you so much for having me on the Ripple Effect podcast. I know it is a long time coming. You were very persistent. And so I said, you know what? Yes, I am coming. I'm coming onto your podcast. And here I am. And I'm feeling great today. I have really been in a really good headspace.
Yeah.
Or as I like to tell my husband, which of course he's like, oh, here she comes with it. I am vibrating on my highest frequency right now.
That's
I really
good.
am. Yeah. Feels good.
Is that because the jump rope? I mean, we'll get into this, but I mean, you've got this jump rope challenge that you're doing on Instagram. I love it.
Okay, I'm so glad you brought up the jump roping challenge. When I first saw the jump roping challenge on Instagram, it was, you know, how the algorithm works. It was in my feed. I saw it. I was like, you know what? Let's do that. I thought it was jump 100 times a day for 10 days straight. So I'm like, do that, right? Did that, recorded it, got ready to post it. I'm like, wait, let me go back to the main challenge just to make sure I'm doing it correctly. And I realized, oh, it's not 100 jumps for 10 days. It's 100 jumps for 100 days.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm already said I was going to do it, so I'm in. And people are like, what day are you on? People ask me all the time, like, what day am I on? I'm like, today's the 30th, I think. They're like, no, on your jump rope challenge. I'm like, oh, you're paying attention to that. I really did not expect anybody to like look at it or care about it. It was really for me more than anything. And I have one friend who is doing it with me, who I think actually beat me at finishing the 100 days, because I had to take a week off because I had oral surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. My oral surgeon was like, no jumping. I'm like, he's like, unless you want to come back in for more of this. I'm like, I do not.
So, I'll take the break.
Right.
Well, I mean, when you look online now, I think everybody thinks that you're the one that created it, right? Because you have a great following. You got like over 25,000 people on Instagram. You are an absolute badass. I just love following you. Yes, heck yeah.
Oh, see, that is, you know what? Keep the compliments coming. I appreciate that. I feel like I've been stuck at 25,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah. I don't do it for the followers, but it's like, come on. Show your girl some love. If you like me, go ahead and click the button. Follow me. I'm hilarious. And this is
you
just
are
me.
Hilarious.
It's just me all the time. I mean, my husband will give me a courtesy chuckle every now and then. But I'm like, that was funny. That was actually funny. And he's like, it was very funny. I'm like, so what? And there he is back there.
Yep. That's kid. Scott, right? Scott.
That is Scott and Beckham.
Yep. Beckham is awesome. I love when you do the videos with Beckham. I mean, he's a handful, I bet.
A whole 2 handfuls.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder where he gets that. I'm just going to go.
The mystery.
Scott, totally. It's totally Scott.
It's totally me.
Well, I was super excited that you agreed to do this. I had so many questions, but I have to be honest. I mean, I thought I was going to be a lot more nervous because I think you are such a rock star. I've been a huge fan of yours for a long time, but you have this way of making people feel at ease. I noticed it when you were on television on a regular basis. I mentioned in my intro, I tuned in. I love Robin Meade, and she's awesome. I love the whole crew. But I really tuned in for your segments because you brought some sass and personality, and you made the day better. And I miss seeing you every morning. So I mean, I'm glad Instagram's there because it's almost even better.
That is so like profoundly kind of you to say. I miss Morning Express so much. There are days when it is almost debilitating that I
Yeah.
am so sad about it not existing anymore. And there's nothing else like it on
No.
television. I mean, you've
No.
got GMA, you've got Today, and they're all great in their own right. But Morning Express was a special engine. We were the little engine that could, because we were a
You-
pretty small team, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and working with Jen, Bob, Coy, Andy, Robin,
Yep.
Meade. Are
Oh.
you
Yep.
kidding me?
Yep.
Bob Van Dillen. It was a dream come true. For so many years, I remember thinking when I'd get up in the morning and automatically turn them on, like one day, if I could
Yep.
just meet them one day, and then to have actually had the opportunity to audition for the job, get the job at HLN, which, by the way, a lot of people don't know this, and you didn't ask this, but I'll share this. My background, I mean, I had a very varied background
Mm-hmm.
in journalism, but I'd done a lot of sports. And when I
Yep.
first came to CNN and HLN, I was going to be covering sports. But someone saw me and said, "Oh, no, 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 no. Can we just borrow her?"
Yep.
Borrow. It
Yeah.
was an extended borrow. It was an extended 8.5 year borrow.
Yep.
But they were like, "Do you think she could do like trending topics? Do you think she could do this?" And I said, "Well, I can try. I can
Yeah.
always try.
Yep.
Live television has never really frightened me. I'm just
Sure.
myself, and I know not to drop curse words and to be respectful." And so it ended up that Robin liked having me on, and she's like, "Are
Yeah.
you sure you want to do this and commit to this?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, what, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.? That's no problem, honey. Those hours will kill you." But I will say, and I'm glad that you said this because that really did give me something internal that I'm going to carry with me beyond this podcast. But it was not just a job to me. I
Yeah.
knew people were counting on us in the morning to like give them a little extra pep in
Yep.
their step and to make them laugh and to entertain them, but also inform them. And so I took that seriously, and I'm glad that it came across that way because I very, very much enjoyed my time at Morning Express.
Well, it was very obvious, and it was very obvious that you guys were a family, right? Which was made
Mhm.
the last day very emotional, even for me, because it was hard to see that this decision kind of came down from nowhere, right? And I thought for sure CNN, in their wisdom, parent company, would figure out like how to get you guys back together doing something because the chemistry is not like anything you see on television, right? And that family approach really comes across. But the thing I respected so much about you is even in those tough days when there was really heavy news, you had the ability to come in and create some levity and really help people focus on something else, which I think was so amazing. And I think it's one of your superpowers. I see it in what you do with Instagram and how you bring a lot of your true personality to the forefront, but how you take a lot of the motivation and what's driving you and some of the challenges that you go through in life. You brought that on screen in such a way that I think was just so amazing.
Thank you for saying that. One of the challenges with having a Monday through Friday show is that it is a show, right? And
Yep.
it is a visual medium, and you can't forget that, right? You have to leave whatever's going on in your personal life outside.
Yeah.
When you get in
Yeah.
that studio, you just have to decide, I'm turning on and I'm going to be present. And I'm going to give these next 2.5, 3 minutes, because it's very quick, as much as I can. And I'm
Yeah.
going to be present in this moment. The reason that I'm able to, I guess, transfer that over to Instagram is because I'm not pretending, as I mentioned to you earlier.
Yep.
I
Yep.
am being myself 100% of the time. I think I'm a lot more unfiltered now. I wouldn't even say I think. I know I'm a lot more unfiltered on Instagram and on social platforms. I mean, even look at my hair. My hair is totally different.
Yep.
That's something that people think is just a myth or a rumor, but it
Yeah.
is very true. There are clauses in our contracts
Yeah.
that dictate our physical appearances. So, like, and I understand them to a certain
Sure.
extent. I
Sure.
do. But as a sister,
Yeah.
it takes a lot to like look television presentable, but making sure my hair looks perfect every day and making sure my makeup looks perfect. And those have to be like second nature, right?
Yep. Yep.
Now I did, and I'd have to get permission to change my hairstyle. And that's not something I have to do anymore. And I am
No.
relishing
Yeah.
that.
That I love the fact that, even on the show, you did change it up from time to time, which was really
Yeah.
great. And I remember the conversation that was happening around Janae Norman, right? And she was,
Mhm.
free the curls and the approach. And I
Mhm.
remember, I think that you had even made a comment. It might have been on social, but I think you did it on air, where you were talking about this, and that you need to have that freedom and that flexibility to be yourself, in whatever capacity that might be on a given day. And obviously, there's limits, like you said, but really at the end of the day, that's what people tune in for, right? That's what they want.
Yeah. It adds to your authenticity. It
Yep.
makes you more relatable. You're not just showing up to look good. You're showing up to as yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully, every day. And I know that hair is so tied to how we feel about ourselves, especially with Black women. I
Yeah.
know for me, and you've probably heard this phrase, your hair is your crowning glory. I wish
Yep.
I knew who said that phrase first, but from a very young age, my mom stressed the importance of presenting yourself to the world
Yeah.
as best you could. And that really started with how your hair looked. And
Yep.
yeah, I feel like we're talking so much about hair, but definitely it is instrumental in how I performed in some ways because as long as I had that look, it's like, hey,
Yep.
I don't even have to think about it now. This is the Melissa Knowles look or the Knowles it all.
Yeah. I
I
love
don't think
that.
I don't think I know it all, by the way. It's
Yeah.
it's a pun, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be very punny, and of
Clearly.
course, here's my dog Rocky trying to climb up here in my lap because the landscape
I
is
love
outside.
Rocky. Rocky's
He's a
awesome.
whole character. He's a whole
Yep.
character. But see now I just lost my train of thought talking about Rocky. He's trembling under here. I guess I have to show him since
Yeah.
we're talking about
Oh
it.
yeah. My audience would love that.
Okay, this is our rescue. This is Rocky. He's getting very gray now. Rocky, look.
How old is he?
We don't know because he's a rescue. Okay, I'm gonna put you back down. Okay, here, go back, go to your place, buddy.
Bye,
Oh.
Rocky.
Okay, you can sit in my lap if you can be still. He's not gonna be still. So we think our best guess is that Rocky is anywhere from 11 to 12.
Yeah.
When we adopted him, they told us he was 6 or 7, but they
Yep.
didn't really know. And we've now had him for 8 years. So, or yeah, 8 years. That sounds about right. No. I'm sorry. 7 years. 7 years.
Yeah.
Things really change after you have a kid. The way
Yeah.
you perceive time
Oh yeah.
and the
It
way
goes
time
out the door.
passes. My gosh, right? And it's like, wait, all of a sudden. And I celebrated my birthday last week.
Happy
I'm
birthday.
42 now, thank you.
Yeah.
And I used to think 40 was so old, right? I remember thinking that when I was a kid, like, wow. I also thought 17 was old. So let's
Yeah.
start at the beginning. But when I turned 42, there was something really good that I felt inside because I was like, you know what? I made it to 42. And you know
Yep.
what? I'm not 42 years old. I'm on level 42. Okay?
I
Can
love
you get
that.
to my level?
That's such a great. I won't even tell you what level I'm at, but it's a lot older.
Don't be ashamed, though. Be your age.
You're right. So your birthday's in January. My birthday's in January. So
Oh,
yeah,
when's your
I just
birthday?
turned 14th.
Oh, happy belated
Yeah,
birthday!
same to
Yeah,
you.
I'm
Yeah,
123. I'm 123. That's my
I know.
birthday. People
I
get
love that.
frustrated.
That's awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, I know what I was telling you about Knowles it all. In college, I had my second day at Southern Methodist University, SMU in Dallas, Texas.
SMU. Yeah.
Go Mustangs. Those are our
Yeah.
pony ears. Oh, wait, I'm moving in front of the camera. Pony ears. All Texas schools have some kind of a hand signal.
Yeah.
Well, while there, people used to call the school newspaper, the Daily Campus, on a real phone, on a phone
Yep.
line,
Yep.
and you'd answer. And I was the new kid. I was a freshman, so I was in charge of answering the phone. Daily Campus, this is Melissa Knowles. And they're like, yeah, I'm Knowles? Did you say Knowles? I'm like, no, I didn't.
No.
It's Knowles. Knowles. And so I remember my editor-in-chief thought that was so funny when people would call me Canoles. He started calling me canola oil because I was so skinny, like olive oil from
Yep.
Popeye. So
Yep.
he called me canola oil. And somehow he's like, and it's like you think you know everything. I'm like, but I don't. He goes,
But
you know what? You Knowles it all, don't you? I'm like,
oh, that's a
oh,
great
and that
nickname.
is
Yeah.
where, and that's where the nickname came from.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I do have questions about your kind of
Oh,
how you got into, so you're from Houston. You're the most famous Knowles in Houston, as we all know, and you
funny.
went to
Yeah.
SMU. So tell us a little bit about that. What did you go to school for, and how did that degree path sort of morph and change to what you're doing day to day professionally?
I apologize if it gets loud because
No
now
worries.
our landscaper is on our
Yeah, you're
deck.
fine. Yeah, yeah. This is life. I mean, come on.
It is life. It is life. I decided to go to SMU, and my mom loves to tell this story because when we went on the campus tour, I noticed that all the buildings matched and they were
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
And
they
I
are.
said, oh, I have to go here. All the buildings match. And my mom said, what? That's why you're choosing a school? I'm like, that's not the only reason I'm choosing a school. It
Yeah.
was a beautiful campus, and I felt at home there the day that I got there.
Yep.
Additionally, it was only about 35, 40 minutes from where my mom lived, and it was still in
Okay.
the state of Texas. And that was
Yep.
important to me. I knew all these kids who were like trying to go as far away as possible, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to be as close as I can without like actually living
Yeah.
at home because I wanted to be able to run home if I needed to. I wanted to be able to escape
Get some
dorm
home
life.
cooking too, right? Yeah, at the same
That
time.
part. And my
Yeah.
mother is a
Mm.
superb cook. So I decided that I was going to go to SMU. Now, I knew that I wanted to do, or I wanted to focus on my talents, the skill set that I already felt like I had, but enhancing it and getting real education behind it. I always love to talk. I'm a pretty good writer, and I do well with research and taking notes. And I'm like, so what would be good? Like, what degree would be good
Yeah.
for that skill set already? Like, I'm not a math person. I mean, I can add and subtract, but I mean, we've got calculators. I can, those kinds of things. But I
Sure.
wanted to focus on what I already knew I was good at. And so I decided I was going to focus on journalism. Now, in the beginning, I aspired to become a writer for the New York
Yep.
Times or the Houston Chronicle. I wanted to do investigative journalism and helping people who'd been wrong, like a
Yeah.
Robin Hood, if you will.
Yeah.
Except I wouldn't be stealing anything and then giving it away. But just wanting to doing something good for other people and using the talents I had. Now, meanwhile, my mother is a lawyer. Okay, my
Mm.
father is also a lawyer. My father had been pushing from a very young age that I become this is very specific, a neonatologist. He didn't just say, I want you to become a
Mm.
doctor, I want you to become a neonatologist. I was like, I don't know what that is. A baby doctor, a
Yeah.
surgeon. And I'm like, Dad, I don't, you should probably ask one of your other kids because that's
Not no.
like it's not gonna be me. And then my mother just kept pushing. I think you should really go to law school. If you have a law degree, that'll help you in so many ways. Even if you don't
Sure.
like become an actual lawyer and you're practicing, there's so many different types of law. I know you want to practice journalism. I just think you should get your law degree. And I was so against getting my law degree, but
Yeah.
I just laser focused on journalism and I laser focused on print journalism until one day I walked through the hallways of the journalism division at Southern Methodist University, and a man named Marty Haig, who is a legend in the news business, especially in the Dallas area. He's no longer with us, but he was at the time,
Mm.
obviously. And he heard me speaking. I've always spoken this way, like my voice is a little deeper. I'm not like one of those girls who's like, yeah, nah. I don't talk like that. I've never had. And he said, young lady, what's your major? And I said, print journalism. He goes, not anymore. You're going to be a broadcaster. I was like, oh, okay. There were other students like, do you know who that is? And I was like, I know he's one of the professors that people are scared of. They said, that's Marty Haig. Like, he's made some big names in journalism. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
If he says you're going to do it, you're going to do it. I know. And I said, okay, well, let me take a broadcasting class. And I did and
Yeah.
fell in love.
Right.
And I got my degree in journalism, broadcast journalism, a bachelor of, I guess, or bachelor of arts degree in broadcast journalism. And my mom still pushed for me to go to law school. And I still was anti going to law school. Now, I'm taking you back to 2004 here. So this was when you had to literally put yourself on an actual tape, VHS,
Yeah. Yeah.
and send it to people with your printed on a sheet of paper resume and hope, and follow up with emails and phone calls and all of that, hoping that someone would call you and say, yes, we'll take a chance on you. I knew I only needed one yes, and I was going to
Yep.
get so many no's. But I didn't really even get a lot of no's. I just got nothing. It was just
Yep.
silence.
Yep.
Meanwhile, my mom is pushing that I study for the LSAT. She pays
Like a
for me
good
to
mom
go,
would, right? Yeah, of
like a good
course.
mom
Yeah.
would,
Yeah.
pays for me to take a Kaplan LSAT training course, the course for it, right? I didn't do it. So, the first day of that Kaplan class, they make you take a pre-exam to see just how you would do if you had no training whatsoever. Okay.
Sure.
And then the last day, you take several practice exams through, and then, of course, the last day, my score did not improve. In fact, it may have been better before I took the class. And it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter. And I got into some law schools. I did everything she asked me to do.
Yeah.
Secretly, I was still sending my reel and sending my resume and just hoping someone would call me. Then someone did. Basically, the rest is history. I moved out to LA. I slept on an air mattress that deflated every night and woke up with a crook in my neck like every day. But I was living my dream. I had
Yeah.
never aspired to live in LA and like be an actress or a model or any of that. I wanted the opportunity to see if I could really be a
Sure.
broadcaster. So my first job was at Channel One News, which was rather an educational network
Okay.
that broadcasted directly into high schools and middle schools all over the country. And Anderson Cooper got his start there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lisa Ling, Seth Doan, my best friend Errol Barnett. We all started there. And it was really a launching pad for the rest of my career.
That's amazing. So when you went out to LA, because you were also famous, you got into a couple of movies, right? Die Hard.
Okay, I cannot believe you're bringing that up. So, a couple of movies. I was in Live Free or Die Hard, which,
Yeah.
by the way, I still get residuals for. I'll get
Yeah.
like a check for like $6.19. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Starbucks. Here we come. Right.
Hey, yeah, yeah. My husband makes fun of it every time. But it was my agent is amazing. I've had the same agent my entire career, and I believe in loyalty, and I believe in when someone
Love that.
believes in you, you
Yeah.
return that, right? And my agent called me one day. This is awful, actually. I was on my way to a funeral. I was raised Catholic, and at the time I still identified as Catholic. I no longer do. But I was on my way to a funeral. One of our priests had passed away suddenly.
Oh.
I know. And my agent calls, and she's like, Melissa, are you okay? Is everything okay? I was like, yeah, I'm just on my way to a funeral. She goes, oh, then you're already dressed. Could you put yourself on tape really quickly? And they need someone to audition for a reporter. And I'm like, what? Well, what do you want me to do? She goes, just tape yourself really quickly. You could pretend you have a mic or like grab a pen. So I grabbed this pen, read these lines. I'm gonna send you the sides, record it, send it back to me, and I'll send it to them. And you never know. I'm like, okay. Obviously, I turned my phone off during the funeral. Rocky, stop. Sorry, my dog.
You're
I
fine.
turned
You're
my
fine.
phone off. I turned my phone off during the funeral, and okay. He literally would never do this. It's only when I'm busy doing something. Okay.
Hey, Rocky wants to hear the story too. He just wants to be up close and personal when he hears it.
And so I send it, turn my phone off. After the funeral, turn my phone back on. She's like, you got it. I'm like, I got what? She's like, the role. You're going to be in Live Free or Die Hard. I'm like, oh my
Oh my
gosh. And so
gosh.
that's how that came about. And I played the reporter. Surprise.
That's awesome.
Excuse me one second. I'm going to kick Rocky out.
No problem. You're fine.
Come on, dude. Come on out. Go. He's going to be such a distraction. Sorry about that. Oh, now he's trying to bang on the door. Okay.
No worries. Yeah. Well, so did you think that was going to be like a turning point for the career? Like maybe you go the actress route or?
No,
Okay.
I didn't think about it that way. I just thought, wow, this was a great opportunity to do something new. And I thought, well, I'm in LA. I should probably try doing more of this. And so I did a little bit of modeling while I was out there and auditioned for some other roles. I was in an episode, although I got cut, of Monk, that show Monk, when that was really popular. And I
Oh, my youngest
played,
son will be like, yeah, he'll be excited just to even know that I'm talking to somebody. That's one of his favorite shows.
oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
but my scene got cut. The funniest part is that when I told my mother that I may be on the show. I'm like, don't tell everybody because I won't know until it airs whether or not my scene actually makes it. She told
Called
everybody.
everybody. Of course.
Oh my gosh. We had our popcorn ready. We're sitting there. We watched the whole episode. People are texting like, I'm not even going to the bathroom. Where is Mac? My other nickname is Mac, Melissa Knowles Mac.
I love it.
Where's Mac? I haven't gone to the restroom for this whole time. Like, I didn't see her. Anyway, yeah. So I was also in that.
Oh, I love it.
You wouldn't know it. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because when you got on Morning Express, I recognized I was watching like a rerun of Die Hard, or Live Free, Die Hard,
Stop it.
and I'm like, oh my god! And so then
Melissa?
yeah, and then at like that point I was like, well, are you also an actress? I was like,
No, I'm
yeah,
not. I really am not.
true
I
story.
am considering it now, though, because now that I have a lot more free time and just get to explore,
Yeah.
I'm considering it all.
Well, and there's like a huge film scene, right? And you're still in Atlanta, right? I
Yes,
mean, it's like a
I
huge
am.
movement there.
Well, they call it the Hollywood of the South or Black Hollywood. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I don't even, I think because I'm of a certain age, I don't mind being a beginner at something again.
Right.
It's just, it's so new. I don't even know like how to jump in or how to get started,
Yeah.
But I'm open to it. Definitely open to it.
Well, maybe somebody who hears this or watches this interview will have connections that can pay off for you.
Ooh, I'm
That'd
here
be a
for
great
that too.
ripple, right? I mean, that'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Well, so let me ask you, like, so you made that jump, and then I know you said you auditioned for Morning Express. What during your time? Because I know you were on CNN quite a bit too. I mean, I know you filled in on the weekends occasionally, and you could switch that personality. Like if it was hard hitting news, you were there, and if it was something light or more entertainment focused, you brought this kind of this real unique personality out, which I loved. But what have you seen in terms of the news business? How much did it change in the time that you were in it? As far
Hmm.
as where it's going, what it's doing. I know it obviously became big business, and that becomes it's got its own set of challenges. But
In the course of the 20 years that I have been a broadcaster, the changes I've seen have been more in how we're perceived rather
yeah,
than how we do our work.
interesting.
I know people who pour their hearts and souls and spend so much time away from their families, working on stories, making sure that we have covered all of our bases, that we've talked to all of these sources, that we're giving accurate information, that we're
Yeah,
giving the details that people want and need to know. That part has not changed.
yeah,
If anything, we're working even harder to
yeah,
make sure that we have triple, quadruple checked to make sure this is fact, that we can report this information.
yep,
I think that what's changed is the way people digest the news. And because there are so many different sources of places that you can get news,
yep,
or what some people say is actual news,
yeah,
is very different than where I was even just 10 years ago.
yeah,
And as far as, but I think you have to remind yourself if you're just like a regular everyday viewer, okay, am I watching something that is confirmation bias? Like, are they just confirming what I already believe because I believe this
yep,
based on what have you?
yep,
Or is this real news that is verified, that I can go and check? Like, is this from a reputable, credible source? And I don't think that everybody does the same due diligence that they may have once did.
yeah,
And then I also think that people's attention spans are quite different than where
oh
they
yeah.
once were.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I had Carol Costello on the podcast last year,
Hmm.
and she's amazing. Now she's teaching at the university level, and she's trying to bring up this next generation of journalists. And she said, it's just a completely different medium now because at the end of the day, you have kids that have grown up with these in their hands, and they
Hmm.
don't. That's where they get their news, which is through social and trying to educate the next generation that you've got to start thinking for yourself. You got to start asking questions, and you can't take everything at face value. You have to dig in, and that's one of the biggest challenges, right? Even as consumers of news, being able to understand, what's fluff and hyperbole and what is actual
Hmm.
legitimate news. And so that the business is shifting and maybe not in a great way, right? And so do you miss that aspect, or is it kind of like, hey, gosh, once I got out of it, I'm kind of like maybe glad I'm doing something different? Or would you ever go
I think
back into that kind of role?
so. You asked me three questions. Here's the answer
Yeah,
to the first
sorry,
one.
I should not.
No, it's
No,
okay. No, it's okay. I'm just really listening intently. The first part is, well, actually, I'll answer the last part first. Yes, I would go back, but I wouldn't consider it going back. I would consider it going forward with a
yeah,
new perspective.
sure,
And I'm not opposed to covering hard news, but I really prefer not to be that person
yep,
because of what it does to you mentally.
yeah,
When you have to constantly report awful things that are happening all around the world, it seeps in. And if I didn't have therapy, I see my therapist regularly once a week.
oh,
If I did not have therapy, and it could be because I'm an empath, the way I feel the pain of others and the way I see the suffering, it makes it debilitating
yeah,
to go on some days, especially when you're someone who lives in such abundance. And I am so grateful for the abundance in which I exist.
yeah,
I am so grateful for the opportunity to be able to even have this conversation with you and to see this beautiful sunny day and to have my crazy dog and to have my health and to exist in this moment. I do think that, second part of your question, it will continue to evolve.
sure,
I think that I think that there was a dip for a while, and we were all like, "Whoa,
yeah, yeah,
wait a minute." And as you said, I mean, you need to do your own critical thinking.
yeah,
You can't just believe everything that comes in your feed, and you have to know what a real news source is. I
yeah,
think it's great to question all news. Absolutely, ask questions, do some research. But when you're doing that research, where are your sources?
yeah,
Who are your
yeah,
sources? I think that's what we have to be more focused on. As far as the social media aspect of it, I think social media can be a tool for good. It
sure.
just depends on how you use it. It depends on how you allow it to use you as well. I think that answered all three of your questions.
And excellent answers across the board without question.
Thank
Well, I
you.
mean, it's perfect segue into the social media because you're really killing it. I mean, we touched on it a little bit, but I mean, the thing that I love most about watching your Instagram stories and reels and your posts is there's almost always a little bit of motivational, bent to it. Where does that come from?
I went through a really dark time, honestly. I know we all have been impacted by politics, the pandemic,
Yeah,
and just life. And I found that what helps me stay motivated is the feeling that I get when as I mentioned, vibrating at my highest frequency.
yeah,
I have never understood that phrase, misery loves company, because I never, right? I never
yep,
want. So if I'm miserable, I don't want to bring you in here to be miserable with
yeah,
me.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want you to be miserable
right,
either.
yep,
I want us to all vibrate at our highest frequencies. I want us to all give a darn
yeah,
about each other, right? And I know that I can only control myself.
yep,
And when I say control, I believe in a higher power who controls
sure,
it all. I know that it is all under his control. So if I can control myself and how I see the world and what I pour into myself, I'm going to always choose to pour that right back out into the world, the goodness that I feel,
yeah,
not the misery, not the sadness. You'll notice if I disappear for a while, that means I'm probably in like a
yep,
not great mental space. So I certainly don't want to share that. I don't want to bring anybody down. Wanting to motivate people comes from me helping motivate myself. And I don't even know if I would call it, I know that people perceive it as motivation, but for me, it's just leaning in to feeling good. And
yeah,
something my little brother said, I have six siblings. Yeah, my dad has seven children. I have a little brother named Malcolm, and Malcolm, everybody loves Malcolm. How could you not? He's just the sweetest. He's so sweet, and he's like 31 now, and I call him my baby brother. He's taller than
Yep.
I am. But Malcolm, we were all home for Christmas, and I wanted him to hang out with us. My husband and my son, we were going to go do something, and I was like, Malcolm, can you come with us? He's like, oh, I really want to, but my friend just texted me. You know, when you're home for the holidays and all
Yeah.
your friends from high school you grew up with are home too,
Yep.
you have to decide, like, okay, am I going to hang with my family for the next couple hours, or am I going to go over here and hang with my buddy who I used to play video games with when we were 10? And Malcolm said, he goes, I'm just trying to figure out how to maximize my joy.
Oh, I
And I
love
said,
that.
huh? He goes,
Oh,
I call it joy maxing. I was like, oh, Malcolm, you're so dramatic. He goes, no, really, think about that. Ways you can maximize your joy. You're joy maxing. So that's what I
I
focus
love
on
that.
is my inner joy and that inner peace and having like an unshakable gratitude within me. And as long as I have that, I am joy maxing. I am staying in the moment and passing those moments on to others. And if that's motivational, I guess I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to.
Well, we definitely have a new term. I love that joy
Joy
maxing. I mean,
maxing?
that's just that's
Malcolm,
awesome.
Malcolm Knowles.
You have
Malcolm
to give
Knowles
him
came up
a
with
hell
that.
of a lot of credit for that. That's fantastic. But
Yes,
you
yes.
do it, and maybe motivational is like it's all too encompassing. What you do is literally by I can only speak for myself, right? But I have to imagine that how I see you and how a lot of people out there see you is you are just like this spark of positivity, right? And you do bring what I would say is the A game to life, which I think is fantastic because you are are fun, you're thought provoking, and you have this way just about you that you could just tell you're definitely what I would call a rippler. You're somebody that makes a difference just by being here. And so, I may never have a chance to tell you that, but I'm telling you now. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
That is so kind. How'd you come up with the idea for this podcast?
So I wrote a book called The Ripple Effect: Maximizing the Power of Relationships for Life and Business. And honestly, it really comes from a premise of we need to know how to connect. We need to know how to engage with one another. I'm naturally introverted and shy. So this forces me out of my comfort zone. It really does require that I find a different approach to connecting with people in real life. And I've applied that to really the corporate world and to speaking audiences around the country. But I really, it comes down to our ability to connect really predicts our ability to be successful, right? Being shy and introverted was a crutch that I couldn't depend on to be successful, especially as an entrepreneur. So the reality was that I had to find a way to actually get people to engage. And one of the ways that I did it was asking good questions and putting them on, center stage and putting the light on them, and then finding ways to take what you learn about them, what I call connection points, and then be able to try and, leverage them in some capacity to make them not only see, and you kind of touched on this earlier. It's like, when you see somebody else and you kind of, really make them feel important and special because you paid attention to what they had to say. It wasn't just a soundbite. It was, hey, that meant something to me, or this is what I took away from it. That's like the greatest gift you can ever give somebody back, right? You've already invested your time. You might as well invest your attention and your focus. And right now, like in the regular world, we're really bad at it. So trying to inspire and motivate people to want to do things differently, connect differently, learn from one another, recognize that, it doesn't matter where we come from, whether we have different political views or, we are raised differently, or we have, we even have different races. We all need to figure out how to get along because we all are human to begin with, right? So figuring out how to have those conversations at a level that helps you vibrate at the highest level, there you go, right?
100%. I agree with everything you said. I really feel that if we could just take a moment and collectively, as individuals and then as a nation, like make the groups bigger and bigger, just
Yep.
be quiet for a second, be still and listen to each other. You'll see that there are places that are relatable, even if someone looks completely differently than you do,
Absolutely.
even if someone comes from a completely different background. There are ways that just unite us and connect us, and it's all a ripple effect, as you
Yep.
would say.
Absolutely, without question. I love that. Well, I know you're super busy, but I have a few Ripple connection questions I'd like to ask you as we finish up. I could talk to you for days. I mean, you're just that much fun, and I'm so grateful that you took the time to come on the show. But what is the favorite show or movie that you're kind of, geeking out over right now?
Favorite show or movie I'm geeking out over right now? Oh my gosh. So I watch a lot of stuff because I still get asked to make appearances as an entertainment reporter, and then I also am a regular on Dish Nation,
Dish
which
Nation.
I
Yep.
love. I love
Yep.
it so fun. Like, I just get to show a completely different part of my personality. I've always been me, as
And
you
you are
know.
hilarious. I
All
love
right,
it.
thank you, thank
Yes.
you. And I'm like with some like real comedians, and I'm like,
Oh
I
yeah,
could
yeah. You guys all
be like,
fit. That's another family example of where you just
it's
fit,
so
right?
funny.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, favorite shows. Okay, my favorite movie of all time is Coming to America. Of all time.
I love
And it
it.
always will be. And it's also wildly inappropriate that I
Yep.
have loved that movie since I'm like 10 or 11. Like, my God. Like, I cannot believe my parents let me watch that, right? But it was the older siblings. The older siblings are watching it. I happen to be in the room. Okay, this is also, oh my gosh. I am really into designing women. Murder, She Wrote, Matlock. I
Oh
have
wow.
become my grandmother. Well, they're on. The other day, my husband was doing these like mobility exercises, and we're about to go to sleep. Oh, also, and this is not a name drop or a flex, but we have one of those adjustable base mattresses
Uh-huh.
because I said, honey, I think this will really help our sleep and we should. Okay. So we've got one of those. All right. He's doing this mobility stuff. I'm like watching Matlock. And I was like, man, look at you. You're such an old man over there doing your mobility exercises. He says the woman propped up in our sleep number bed watching Matlock. I'm like, sir. Okay. So, but those are the older shows that I like to watch. Oh, A Different World. I
Oh
just have a
yeah.
real 80s nostalgia going on
Yep.
right now. And then I also love, I guess, a more modern show. Oh, I love The Golden Bachelor because I know I was always giving the Bachelor
Yeah,
crap
you were.
on
Yep.
because I don't understand. It's just it's a money grab.
Yep.
It's you're not really looking for love. You're kissing strangers on the mouth back to back. Like I no entiendo. Okay, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? But I did love the Golden Bachelor because it had a completely different feel to it. And I also really love that show, The Bear, that's won all
Oh
kinds of
yeah,
awards
that's such a
on
great
Hulu.
show. Oh.
This Fool, also on Hulu. I really enjoy that show. Oh, and
Oh, okay,
Hacks.
yeah. Yep.
Hacks on
Oh,
HBO.
yep.
Love
That is a
Hacks.
great one. Yep.
Good, good. And
Oh.
I'm the kind of person who, and I think it makes it hard for my husband to watch television with me. I will watch the same show over and over again or the same series, trying to see which jokes I missed when I was laughing the
Oh
first
yeah.
time, or I just want to laugh again. So I just watch it again.
Oh, I love it. But that's I have my Better Call Saul mug, right? I did the
Oh,
same
right.
thing.
I ran into him before that show. So back in the day, of course, I can't think of his real name right now.
Bob
What is
Odenkirk. Yeah.
Oh, Kirk, there you
Yep.
go. I when I first moved to LA, I was working at Gower Studios, and he I think had just done an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is
Yep.
another one of my
Oh,
favorite shows,
oh, great
and
show.
we
Premiering Sunday.
literally. I know it's the last season.
I know.
We bumped into each other going up crossing paths. I was going up the stairs, he was coming down the stairs. And I had just seen him in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's in the first season. I don't know if
Yep.
you
Oh
it's an
yeah.
episode
Yep.
called Porno Gill, and it's
Yep. Yep.
very. And I go, oh, Porno Gill, and he's like, hi, hello. I have an uncanny ability of recognizing people's faces. I can just see a profile and be like, oh my gosh, there was that guy a couple of weeks ago at this pizza place near our house from Cobra Kai. And I called my husband. I was like, "Hey, that guy from Cobra Kai was just crossing the street from the pizza place." He goes, "What? Are you sure?" He goes, "You know what? I know you're sure because
Yeah.
you once recognized somebody. We were having burgers at Grindhouse, which is a popular chain here,
Yeah.
and this guy was sitting having a burger at the bar. I go, "Oh my gosh, that is Steve Harvey's, one of his twins' husband's cousin." And Scott's like, "What? How do you know that?" I'm like, "You don't know that?" But everybody knew that.
That's
It's a
awesome.
weird thing. It's very strange.
Well, I mean, you could always go into like law enforcement as a as a
Right.
profiler. It sounds like you've
Well,
got the skill set for sure.
I've got a knack for it.
Oh, that's awesome. Where do you find your inspiration today?
I find my inspiration, honestly, from just living my life. That seems very serious. For so long, specifically the last Rocky, yeah,
Rocky said,
or the
"Remember
last,
me?"
well, I locked him out. Now he's scratching the door. He's hitting the door for the. So let me start over because I don't know how this will be edited.
I'm gonna leave it.
For
That was
the
great.
Oh, okay. For one of the reasons that I am so grateful for this time is that I am really getting to explore who I am, what I want in this moment right now.
Yeah,
I was so career focused, so morning express focused for the last 8 years, 8.5 years, that it inhibited my ability to really live outside of my job, to really be the kind of mother I want to
yeah,
be, the kind of wife I want to be, and just living for myself. I had a hard time because I wasn't getting any sleep for like especially these last like 4.5 years. My son is 5. Our son
yeah.
is 5, and when you have to be camera ready at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday,
Oof.
and you have a small child, I was on average getting about 4.5 hours of sleep a night.
Oh, yeah.
So unhealthy. My
Yep.
my my health was suffering
Yep.
tremendously, and I didn't realize how exhausted I was physically and mentally until about 2 months before Morning Express ended.
Wow.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah. And then now my inspiration comes from being able to get a full night's sleep, feeling rested, getting up the next day. I usually start my day with, and this is not like a push or anything, but I wanted to get better acquainted with
Sure.
God.
Yep.
I
Yep.
started
Perfect.
reading my
Oh,
Bible
yeah. Yeah.
every day, every day. My mom gifted this to me, okay, in 2019. It says it on the inside where she wrote a little note to me. I don't know if you can see, right?
Yep.
I just started reading this. I was looking all over, Googling daily Bible. I need a daily Bible. One day I look over, if something said, look over there, you might already have what you need. And do you know this was sitting right there?
Yeah. My wife would call that a God wink, right? Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh, it is a God wink. I
Yeah.
called my mom in tears, like, Mom, I was here the whole time. I mentioned earlier that I no longer consider myself Catholic. And
Yeah.
I consider myself a person who believes in a higher power, who believes in the good in people, and someone who wants the best for people. Now, you could call me a Christian. I don't even know if I would identify as
Hmm.
just a Christian. I'm someone who just really gives a damn about humanity.
I
I
love
am
it.
someone who wants to be good and wants to pour good into the world. And I know that I sin. I know that I am not perfect, and none of us
Right.
is a perfect person. I just strive to be the best version of myself every single day. So my inspiration comes from living my life, being fully rested, my jump roping, my soul cycle, just really experiencing what it is to be alive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know for so long, because I was so in this, gotta get up and go to work. Like I was going to bed maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and getting up around 2:30, two
Oof.
45 every day,
Yeah.
and barely getting to see my family,
Yeah. That's
barely getting to go home to Texas. Like that was really, really more challenging than I ever anticipated that it would be. And so I'm really grateful for this time to be
that's
able
awesome.
to discover new parts of myself and to rest.
Yeah.
Right? You need rest. I didn't really. I was always like, I can just keep going. No, no,
Yep.
no. No, you can't. No, you
Yeah.
can't. It's not good for you. It's not good long
No,
term.
not at
No,
all.
it isn't.
Not at all.
No.
Well, certainly
You
this is
keep
a
going.
plug
I'm
for.
fine. I don't have anything yet.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So I would make a plug for one of the TV shows that you should check out is The Chosen. Have you seen that yet?
No.
Oh my gosh. So I'm not like, my wife found it, watched it, and then she got me turned on to it. But it's basically the story of Jesus and this whole the way they did it. But the reason that you might like it is it's all produced in Texas. It's all done in the Dallas
Mm.
area. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I don't know. And I saw a thing, and so I asked her about it. And she's like, no, I'd watch it over with you, like it's on Prime, or
It's on Prime.
yeah,
Okay.
Peacock or whatever. And
Okay.
I got to be honest with you, I'm not like a big religious movie kind of person, and
Mhm.
I consider myself faithful, but I don't go to church or whatever. And I can't get enough of it. It's like pretty
I'll check it
amazing.
out.
Yeah, you would definitely dig it, especially if you've made reconnection to the the Bible and you're reading that daily, I think you would really benefit, just the stories, just the backstories we heard in, Sunday school. Like,
Fascinating.
oh my,
Well,
it is.
that part. So going to mass regularly,
Yep.
being an altar server,
Yep.
considering myself Catholic until I was probably about 27, 28, maybe even almost 30 years old, I had never read the Bible from cover to cover.
Yeah.
I am someone, as I mentioned during this conversation, when people are always referring to the Bible as a source, or they're saying, well, this scripture verse, I'm
Yep.
like, well, I've heard that verse, but in
Don't know
what
the meaning
context
behind
are you
it, or
using?
yeah.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the
Same
story
way.
that led up to that? I'm like, I want to know. I
Yep.
want to know. I want to have a better relationship with God, with a higher power, right? And as you said, faithful, I'm faithful. So what better way that
Yep.
this lays it out? It tells you March 2nd, this is how much you read. But I am literally
Yeah.
reading the Bible from cover to cover, and it is fascinating.
That's yeah. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
relatable too.
Yeah, it's yeah. I can relate 100%. So, my next question is, what's the best piece of advice that you've received that you use today? Like growing up, what was the best piece of advice you received, and how do you use it
Mm.
today?
This feels cliche to say because I know so many people use this now. This darn dog. Excuse me one
No
second.
problem.
It's okay, I know. The leaf blower really gets him. Really
You
gets him.
you just need that Rocky cam. You need that one extra camera for the
Oh,
Rocky
yes.
cam. And he's like, hey, I'm good.
I
I'm on.
mean, right. If I would say the one piece of advice that I received when I was younger that I don't think I really understood then, but I definitely understand now and certainly use almost every day is when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yeah, that's great.
In so many ways, that has served me as far as knowing or trusting my own knowing,
Yep.
trusting
Yeah.
my internal instincts. Because I don't think that you automatically do that, especially as a young woman.
Yeah.
You are, maybe not everybody, but I think I was more of a people pleaser
Yeah.
for a long time,
Yeah.
certainly than I am now. And now I know myself so well that if I sense somebody is not quite who they say they are,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
if see, people talk about red flags, they don't have to be red for me. They can be
Yeah.
pink. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you know what? I'm not even gonna let that get to red.
See you later. Yeah.
And I don't waste my time. I don't waste
Yeah.
my time. And I'm not going to pour into someone or into a situation that really isn't serving me and that I
Yeah.
cannot be of service in. So yeah, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
I love that. What did 7-year-old Melissa Knowles want to be when she grew up?
When I was 7 years old, I probably wanted to be Jody Watley. She's a singer, pop singer, because I used to love this song
she's
called
so awesome.
I'm Looking for a New Love.
Yep.
Oh, I used to perform it. Before I knew what lip syncing was, I used to have my mom press it on the cassette tape.
Yep.
You know,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I'm looking for a new love, baby, a new love. And even now, if I hear that song on the radio, which is very rare,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's my song, Jody Watley. So probably Melissa Knowles at 7 years old wanted to be some kind of an entertainer, performer, pop singer.
I love that. That's awesome. And I could see it. And look where you ended up. I mean, come on.
I mean, I'm an entertainer, I guess, but I'm certainly not a singer.
I don't know. That was a pretty good voice. That's a pretty good voice.
Kind. We'll leave that to my cousin, Beyonce.
Yeah. Not really your cousin, though, right?
So I get asked this question quite often, as you can imagine, with the last name Knowles and that being my real last name and, being from Houston.
And she probably gets that question a lot about you.
And being melanated. Oh, yes, I'm sure. Like, Beyonce. Excuse me, Miss Carter. You know Melissa Knowles. Is that your cousin? Yeah. So the honest answer is I don't know. I don't think we are, but every time I say that, people think I'm just saying that to like throw them off, right?
Sure.
And then they'll start Googling and they'll be like, wait a minute, is this your dad? Your dad looks just like her dad. That's your cousin, girl. I'm like, because our dads look alike? Like, no, your dads look alike. Knowles, you're black. Come on. So the short answer is I don't know. But if we are, I mean, that's awesome. To be related to one of the biggest superstars on the planet, that would be amazing.
I know, that's what she's saying right now, that she would be saying about you.
I wish I had some, you know what? it's not even Beyonce money that I'd want. I
Yeah.
would love to have just a little sliver of her creativity.
Oh
She
yeah.
is
Off the
beyond
charts. Yeah. Yeah.
off the charts.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, just three more questions. What does the
Yeah.
next 5 years look like for you? Or what
Ooh.
would you like them to
I
look like for you?
I focus really hard on staying in the present because
Yeah.
I fear my worry and my fear and my anxiety are heightened if I think too much into the
Yeah.
future
Okay.
I've been working on. However, since you asked, I will have a successful podcast. And by successful, it doesn't mean that like everybody's always talking about it. It means it's helping someone out there have a more worthwhile existence. And I will have a 10-year-old who is a kind, generous, grateful, athletic, funny person who gives a darn about the world around him. My husband and I will be celebrating, I guess, like our 12-year anniversary. So hopefully, 5 years from now, we're going back to South Africa because that's
Yeah.
one of our first big trips we ever went on together. And maybe I've acted in a couple of movies.
Yeah.
That would be fun. That would be fun. And yeah, I think I know that's it. Oh, and I have an electric vehicle. No, I really want to continue to have this life of adventure and
Yeah.
leaning into trying things that are different than
Uh,
what I've done in the past.
I love that. That's one of the best answers I've gotten. So well done.
Oh, thank you.
What does the ripple effect mean to you when you hear that term?
When I hear the term ripple effect, it means that it starts it being a journey or a good feeling or something that is helpful going out into the world. And each person who it touches feels some type of a responsibility to keep moving that and paying that energy forward.
I love that. Well, my last question is what ripple can I create for you?
What ripple can you create for me? Just passing on the worthwhile nature of living this one wild and precious life, passing on to other people that you get to create the life you want to live, and that and to have an understanding of living in answered prayers.
Yeah.
I think for so long, I while I did feel grateful, I was always looking for what was next,
Yeah.
always focused on 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, as opposed to existing in this moment and feeling grateful for what I already have. And for me, creating a ripple effect starts with staying in the moment and then creating those next moments for other people where they know that they are worthwhile, their existence is worthwhile, and what they are pouring into themselves and pouring out into the world is also
Yeah.
worthwhile.
Well,
Maximizing our joy maxing.
a joy maxing. I love that. That's a perfect way to end this. I mean, I am so grateful that we had this time together. So appreciative, so that people know where to follow you. So when all these things start to come to fruition, and we figure out what major motion picture you're going to be in next, right?
Oh,
Let us
yeah.
tell everybody how you'd like them to follow you.
When you want to know what's going on with Melissa Knowles, you will go to social media and be like, what do I type in? Knowles it all on all social media platforms. That the continuity was on purpose. So it's
Yeah.
my last name, Knowles, Knowles, Knowles it all on Gmail, the TikTok, and oh, I don't really do X. I don't do, yeah, but TikTok and Instagram, that's where I'm at. And then I'm melissanowlestv.com. That's my website, Melissa
Yeah.
Knowles TV.
We're gonna put links to all those on the show notes, and I am so grateful for this time with you, Melissa. You are a true rippler, and I'm so
Oh,
just overwhelmingly thankful that you agreed to do this, and hopefully you'll come back at some point.
yes, I'd love to come back. This was so much fun, and I feel like I talked your ear off for the last hour. I just wanted to you 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 reaching out to me made me feel really special. I just was not ready yet, and I kept trying to be ready, but I wasn't quite there. And then you reached out again, and I said, you know what? It's time. I'm ready
I
now. 2024 is the year, and I'm ready.
I love
So
it. Well,
thank
I am so grateful. I mean, you are just amazing to get this scheduled and to be a part of this. And if there's anything I can do for you as you're figuring out what's next, or I can't wait to see the podcast. And if I can
you.
help in any way as you get those things off the ground, I'm always going to be a resource for you. I live in Austin, so when you come back to Texas, if you happen to make it over this,
Oh,
yeah, heck yeah, I
wow.
we'll go to lunch or dinner or something.
Heck yeah. I'm
Uh,
such a Texas girl. We're planning to come back down for the rodeo Houston,
All
obviously.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
That's good. And they got some
definitely.
great acts at that one for sure. It's going to be awesome.
I know. I'm very excited.
Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you tuning in for another episode of the Ripple Effect podcast. And until next time, Melissa, ripple on.
See you later.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you so much.